Hello, tribe. Grandmaster Stephen Luke Steele here of Krav Maga Martial Arts and of Empowering Fathers. And today I want to talk about balance. Yesterday I was teaching actually it was Saturday. Anyway, Saturday I was teaching class and I was teaching my students, some of my black belts, we were working on sweeping and takedowns. And I was explaining to them the importance of the proper balance. How, what you want to do is get your partner off balance all the way to the front foot. And now you can execute this particular sweep, assuming you are in proper balance. And I showed them exactly what can happen if you attempt that sweep being off balance. Now, by the way, balance is important to every part of the martial part of martial arts, right? Whether we're striking or kicking or um, we're striking or we're kicking or we are, let me see here, I don't know, there we go. I couldn't see, see myself talking to you. But rather we're striking or we're kicking or we're doing, what we were doing with the takedowns the other day. Balance is, of course, essential to the martial part, the combative part of the martial arts. What I really want to talk to you about today, though, is the art side, because I believe that the art side of the martial arts is about creating a life worth living, creating a life that is a work of art that we can be proud of. And today I want to talk about balance as pertains to that. And I'm just only going to talk about three because, of course, there's so many areas that we could talk about balance in life. But the three that I jotted down that I want to talk about today, number one was in parenting. Today is my youngest son's 18th birthday, and I did a video yesterday on what it's like when your boy becomes a man, and you wonder how you did and did I do good enough, and this is relevant to this part of balance, right? Because while we're raising up a child in the way it should go, there's this balance between hard and soft, between discipline and leniency, between control and independence or freedom. Like we're constantly negotiating, and I don't know, I'm not positive what exactly the right balance is. You probably aren't either, but we know that as parents it's our responsibility to negotiate that balance, because we know that to be too far, so let's take the last one for example, right? To be so controlling that in one of two ways, either in kind of the one that I experienced where it's a very harsh control, or even in the opposite. Another one today that's very, very common is coddling, right? We know that either one of those, while while the second one comes from they probably both came from a good place, right? Of a parent meaning to do well. What they do is they're disempowering to the child, right? What about other extreme of that though, right? Like the one where there's no boundaries, there's no rules, the kid just kind of does what they want. Well, we see every single day of our lives the repercussions of that extreme, right? So it's the negotiation between the two, so that we're because ultimately our job there in that particular balance is to help our children grow, so that we hope that when hey, you're 18 years old now, you're stepping out into manhood, that you're prepared for life. The second balance that I wanted to talk about goes all the way back to my days as a philosophy major at the University of Tampa, because in fact I did my senior thesis there on Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Well, really I did it on the progression of moral philosophy through three different philosophers in three different periods of history, but that's not the point of this. The point is this, that one of the things that Aristotle talked about in the Nicomachean Ethics is that all real virtue is the mean between two extremes. So this is another kind of balance, right? And a couple of the examples I'm pretty sure he gave two, I'm going to give to you now either way, is one is that courage is the mean between cowardice and foolhardiness, as love is the mean between indifference and obsession. And you could go through any of the other virtues, and the place of virtue is the place of balance between the two extremes. And then the third one that I was going to talk about, because this is one that I struggle with sometimes, I'm particularly strong on towards one extreme, where luckily some people on my team are particularly strong towards the other. because what I'm going to talk about is the extreme between study and action. The balance between study and action. The balance between decisiveness and contemplation. Right, like on the first. And this one I think I have good balance in, because I do study a lot. I read, I watch courses, I listen to stuff, I have mentors. So I do study a lot. I also take action. So I think that one I got a pretty good balance. The other one, I maybe, because the second one is between decisiveness and deliberation. I will say that if I am out of balance in one direction, for me it's decisiveness. I can be guilty of ready, fire, aim. But I will also say that most people, I think, are on the other extreme of ready, aim, 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 aim. The virtue, once again, is the balance between those two extremes. Now listen, there's lots of different types of balance we could talk about. I could keep going on personally, but I want you to go on now. Do me a favor and actually make some comments and tell me what you think about what I had to say, or tell me some of the areas of balance that you struggle with in your life. Thank you. Make it a great day for yourself and all those around you. Prepare to live, empower to lead.